It's Dave Simney, 12-Minute Mentor, coming to you live. You guys, I have been so excited about doing this live for a while. It's like been on my mind for a while, and I just knew there was like a ton of value in my story, but I needed it to be the right time before I shared it. And you never do those lives. I don't know, for any of you that go live on a regular basis, you know, there's this like weird moment before you like hit the live button that you're like nervous that you're going to want to say it the way that it came out in your mind. You're nervous like, well, how many people are going to watch this? You want to add a ton of value. But have you also done those lives where you're like, dude, people are like waiting for people to go on. Remember how it used to be, waiting for someone so to jump on. And you're like, how many minutes have we lost? How many hours have we all lost, like waiting for people to jump on? So I always want to make my lives like clear and to the point, and just get right into the value. So I want to share my story today, you guys, and my goal is to provide a ton of value if you're in like direct sales, MLM, network marketing, or any kind of like sales, right? And this story is so powerful. Like, I'm so excited to share it, and I just appreciate you guys watching. I encourage you to tag and share it. If you find value, tag some friends. If you know anyone that plays like team sports, there are some incredible parallels in this story. I'm going to try to like make it really quick, but I want you to learn from like my experience, because it's exactly like direct sales. I made a decision, you guys, about 3 months ago to coach a little league team. And it's been a bucket list item for my entire life. I've always thought when I have sons, like one day I want to coach a little league team. And you know, if you can relate to that, you know, drop a football icon or a basketball icon or a baseball icon. Like, if you've ever wanted to coach a team sport, it's not for everybody, but it was on my list of stuff to do. And you guys, it's been an incredible journey. So first of all, just want to share, like, the decision to do it was very spur of the moment. Although it had been on my mind, I definitely played sports. I've never coached a sporting team at all. I've coached a sales team, I guess you could say, but way different. The decision was very spur of the moment. And the reason I decided to coach a little league team, one, was because minor leagues, my oldest son is in minor leagues, and I thought, you know what? If I don't do it now, when am I going to do it? You know, and so mainly it was because of my son. The second reason was because of the timing. I got an email from the league that said we need one more coach in order to start the season, one more manager, and if we don't have a manager, you know, we're not going to be able to start playing. And I just was compelled by that email, and I made a spur of the moment decision. Okay, I'm going to do it. So have you ever made a decision and just been like, oh, what did I get myself into? I feel like that's very similar to network marketing, in that, you know, it's like, oh, join a business. It's this big life-changing decision. And in the end, I made the decision. And when I first started, I was totally overwhelmed. I was like, oh my gosh, what did I get into? I went to the manager's meeting, and we did like a basic training for an hour, which was all the training I got. And they were like, here's the exercises you need to do. Here's some tips for training your pitchers and your players. And here's how to be a good coach. And I took all these notes, and that was it. It was like, okay, there you go. Now you got to go be a coach, and you got to go, you know all the rules. And it was like, oh my gosh. And then you got to find a team mom. You got to find volunteers, and you got to find, you know, other coaches to coach with you. And it's like, seriously, I was overwhelmed. I was like, what did I get myself into? And I thought, I didn't have the time. Who has the time to start a new thing, right? A new business, just like direct sales. There's all these people out there thinking, I don't have the time, you know, it's going to be too overwhelming. And I feel like that was the initial reaction, but I pushed through it. I'm like, okay, well, I made a commitment. I got to do it. I'm a guy that sticks through my commitments. You know, raise your hand if you're a person that does what you say you're going to do. Raise your hand, drop a heart button, smash the heart button if you are someone who sticks with your commitments. So that's why I don't make commitments lightly, like, you know, marriages, things like that. You know, I got one marriage. Like, I make a commitment. Being a father, like, I'm committed. I'm all in. So I got in, and I was totally overwhelmed. And then they said, you got to recruit a team. And I'm like, wait a minute, I don't even know what I'm doing. I got to recruit a team. So how do you do that? You go to the tryouts, and you sit with all the other managers, and you watch about 100 kids, like fielding, batting, catching, and you're watching them. And you make your list, right? Just like direct sales. You make your list. And at the top of your list are the best players that you want. You're like, if I could have anybody on this team, who would I have? And you make like a list of like 10 or 20 people. You're like, I could have any one of these people. Who would it be? And so you make your list, and then there's the kids that are like, well, these kids are kind of like medium, like mid-level players. They're not big rock star players, but hey, they have potential. And you make that list, and then you make your list of all the beginners, and you're like, okay, these are the kids I need to pick last because they're just beginners, but you don't know what you're going to get. So obviously you start with your best and you work your way down. So then you go to the team recruiting process. And you go, it's called the draft, right? They have a draft in minor league, in little league. It's actually a draft. And you go with all the other managers, and it's 1 through 6. There were 6 teams, and they're like, okay, you pick your team, and everybody starts. It's a random lottery, and you start with team 1, team 2, and you pick one player. And then they get to 6, and they go back down to 5, and you pick your player. So everybody's got their list, and you're lucky if you get 2 or 3 of your best people. Isn't that right? Network marketing. You're like, man, if I could work with like any people, I would want to work with these 3 people or these 2 people. If they could just join my team. And so what I got when I drafted was 3 players that I really, really wanted. And I got them, right? I picked them right away and I got them. And then the other 12 players, well, actually the other 9 players outside of my own child, I didn't know who they were. I didn't know what their skills were. I just had some basic notes on a couple of them. The rest of them, I just randomly got them. I based it on age. I just picked the older kids because I figured, hey, they might be bigger. They might have more experience. But, it was a total crapshoot. I didn't know what I was getting. I knew I had the 2 or 3 players that would really carry the team, and the rest we're going to work with along the way. So we got our team. But then I found out, just like direct sales, it's a volunteer army. Like, you don't know who's going to show up to practice. They're not paid. Nobody's paid in minor league, little league. Umpires aren't paid. The players obviously aren't paid, right? They pay to play. No one's paid. Like the league volunteers, the snack bar, everyone volunteers. No one's paid. So you don't know who's going to show up to work. And your scorekeeper, your pitch counter, you can't tell them like, dude, you got to be here. All you can do is say, well, hey, if you don't show up, we're going to have to forfeit. You can kind of guilt trip them into coming, but you really have no control. You're not their boss. So you've got to do your best to influence people and inspire people to be part of something bigger, just like direct sales. Your energy equals their energy. If you show up and you're negative and you're like, whatever, if we win or lose, whatever, your team doesn't care. They don't take it seriously. So you've got to be seriously showing up. So that's what's happening. And then the other thing I learned was that you lose, you totally lose when you first start. You can't always win at everything. So we lost within our first 2 weeks, we lost 2 games. And I was crushed. And why did we lose? Well, one of them, one of those top 3 players that I had picked, didn't show up. They couldn't make it. And we lost a game. And I had him set to pitch and everything. And I thought, wow, this is going to be a battle through this season, right? And we lost. And I had to come back and just say, hey, we're going to do this. So then I realized, you know what? Other teams were practicing every other day of the week. One team was practicing every single day. And I just thought, that is no fun. I get it, you got to practice and show up every day, but I wanted to make it fun. So the philosophy I took as a manager was, we're going to make it fun. So within the first 2 weeks of practicing, 3 weeks of practicing, we got rained out, by the way. The weather was a big factor in our practicing. There's all these circumstances outside of your control. When you have a direct sales business, there are all these people you can't control, funerals and weddings and life events and people getting sick and the weather. All this stuff has an impact on your business the same way it had an impact on our team. And so I just had to push through, schedule the practices, whoever showed up, and I would reward those people that showed up because I would then let them be in the starting lineup. So we get to our first game. We lost 2 out of the 4, and I was really frustrated. And then I made a decision. We're going to make this fun. Instead of those teams that want to be first place so bad, and they're going to work their kids, and they're going to do drills all day, and then drills about doing drills, I'm like, no way. Let's just get in the car and drive. Let's just have a great time. So I started making the practices a scrimmage. After all, baseball needs to be fun. Why are the kids doing it? These kids are 9 years old, 10 years old. Make it fun. Life is too freaking short to not have fun. So we made it fun. We started doing drills. Now, Was there a lesson every time? Of course. We stopped when they would make a mistake and we would say, hey, next time do it this way. So those drills were interactive. The scrimmages were interactive, but they were fun. They were so much fun. In fact, they were so fun, I even tore my meniscus a month ago hitting a home run off a 10-year-old. So then getting through my list, I'm almost done. I learned that getting to first place was going to take a daily battle. It was going to take an emotional battle. It was going to take a physical battle, and then it was going to take a toll in terms of like your own personal dedication to the team. Because if one person is not dedicated, the whole team is impacted. When one person doesn't show up, I had to redo the entire lineup. So communication was very, very important, you guys. So communicating with your team, encouraging your team. So I just made a communication. I made an app. I wanted to just make sure that every single person had communication. And when I showed up, I realized I had to do pep talks with everybody. And when my energy was down, the one time I showed up and I let my guard down, we lost. I showed up with negative energy. I was upset and our team lost. Your team does what you do, good or bad. Your team will project your energy. If you don't show up early, your team doesn't show up early. If you're always late and you're moping around and you're not high energy, your team's not going to be high energy. Literally, you can will yourself. We didn't have all rock stars on our team. We encouraged them, we built them up, and we taught them, and we did have some tough love, and we did have tough conversations with some kids, and we did encourage some kids to go out there and do better and be better and do more. But we got it done. We kept the energy high, okay? And then we realized through the season, we battled it out, and guess what, guys? We finished first place, the Reds. I'm wearing the wrong hat, but the Reds finished first place. 14-3 was our record. After those first 2 weeks, we only lost one game. We had a 10-game winning streak, you guys. We showed up. The team that was undefeated in the first 2 weeks, we never lost to that team, not one time. We played them 4 times and we beat them every time by 1 point. We pushed through every game. We had pep talks in the middle of each game. We encouraged everybody. We gave them tips and we just spoke it into existence and we finished first place on the season. I'm a first-time coach. I've never done it before. A lot of our players were new. We just did it. So all this stuff can be done. You just got to have the right leader. You have the right leader mentality. You got to have the right positive mindset. You got to speak winning into existence. You got to visualize. You got to have real world practical information and knowledge about what you're doing and be able to be someone who can effectively communicate with a team and solve problems. When someone doesn't show up last minute, improvise. If something doesn't happen the right way, improvise. If your sales aren't where they need to be, come up with a promotion. Do something to get people excited. I literally said, whoever hits a home run gets a $20 bill. It was like, whatever. And the kids are all like, okay, I'm going to hit a home run. And then, of course, my own kid hits a home run. And I just flipped over 20 right out of my wallet. Can you imagine? So guys, people will react. It's human nature. So that's what I learned. And then I'll just fast forward to this. We started the playoffs, all right? This is one final postscript to my live today. We finished the season number 1. Okay, the playoffs, it's a clean slate. Everybody starts at 0. But what I learned is when you get to the top, guess what? Everybody wants to knock you down out of first. They want to make you look bad. They want to get you. They're out for blood. It's competitive. People are jealous. There's haters. Even in minor league, there's drama. There's backbiting. There's talking behind your back. It's crazy. I realize human beings are like totally emotional and they can't handle when they get defeated. They cannot handle it. And so we played our first playoff game and we crushed them. We came back from being down by 2 points, and the smallest guy on our team hit his first triple of the entire season, knocked in 3 ones. We won by 3 points, crushed them. The other team was devastated, crying. The parents were freaking out. And we celebrated. We lifted this little kid up on our team. His name's Rocky. We lifted him up and he just like had the best day of his life. And he got the game ball. And then you know what happened? We get a call the next morning. The other team went through all the numbers and counted all the pitches and examined every little detail of the game. And you know, I'm a first-time manager. I don't know every little thing. But he found one little discrepancy, one where one of our pitchers had pitched 8 pitches, too many pitches, and wasn't allowed to catch. But because their team injured our backup catcher, and our backup catcher had to sit out the whole game, I had to put that kid that pitched, I had to put him in for 1 inning to catch. And due to the rules, we were 8 pitches too many for that kid, technically, to be catcher. So they protested the win, and it was null and void. And we had to go back the next day. Everyone had to leave work. Everyone had to come early. It was freezing cold, and we had to play 1 inning against the team. And of course, what happened? We lost. We did great, but we were at the bottom of our lineup, and we lost. So our victory got pulled away from us. And can you imagine the emotion for that little 10-year-old kid, the smallest kid on our team, to have that victory pulled away from him? So sad that other coach would do it. But you know what? Ultimately, yeah, I broke the rules. I didn't know. But at the end of the day, you guys, it was a life lesson for these kids that life isn't always winning. And when you have everything ripped apart, right now, people's companies are closing. Avon gets sold out to Brazil. Advocare is closing their doors and, switching models, and people's companies are closing. And if you know you have a winning team, you have a winning desire, if you know that you're a winner, you should be able to pick up and rebuild. But for a lot of people, it's emotionally hard to do that. And we had to pick it up. So here's where we are now. We have to win our next 3 games in a row just to get to the championships. I know we're going to do it because I've got the mindset, our team, we're going to do it. But you know what? We had a bad defeat taken away from us. We won the game and it got taken away from us. So now we're rebuilding at 0. We are technically in last place. We are in the losing bracket. And for us to win the championship on June 1st, we have got to go and play our best for the next week. The next 3 games, we got to win. So this is where we're at. I just wanted to share that journey because every time in my mind I was thinking about this journey of being a brand new manager for this team of 9 and 10-year-olds and some 11-year-olds and taking them from 0 to first place for the season and overcoming it and now being in the playoffs. Every single part of the journey in these last few months for me has been so much fun. It's been ups and downs, just like being an entrepreneur. And I feel like there's a ton of value that people could learn in this story of just stay the course, keep the mindset high, just keep doing what you know to be right, make it fun, just encourage people, reward people, give them a game ball. Every game we give them a game ball and we say, hey, and not do I just do one player. I go through, I said, who got a hit today? Let's celebrate that. Great. Hey, Eddie, you made a great throw to second and got the runner out. That was awesome. Let's celebrate along the way. So we go through the game at the end of the game and we do a pep talk. And then we say, hey, what did we do? What could we do better? What mistakes did we make? Who learned something from today? And you learn, then you go on. And you just go for it. And so I just saw so many parallels. I've been so excited. I just hope a decent amount of people get to hear my story because, this is, unfortunately, if I put collagen in the title, I probably get 3,000 views. But, I put Little League in the title and we'll probably get 100 views. It doesn't matter. If just one person sees this and gets inspired by my story, feel free to tag it, tag somebody or share it. Feel free to follow me over at 12 Minute Mentor. I will do another update when the championship is over and share for those of you that have been following my journey. Thank you for watching, and I hope this added a little bit of value. I hope you can relate to this journey. Just keep going. Keep the winner's mindset. Eventually, it will happen. You will win. You will find the right people. Your seeds will take root. Your team will win. And when you win, it feels so good. It does feel so good. And it's worth fighting. And it's worth not just bending over and saying, oh, that's it. I give up. I quit. It's worth pushing through because the triumph after the setbacks is so much more than just having not done it at all, guys. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. This is Dave Simney.